Wait.
We're recording, so we're ready. We're ready to do this shit.
Hey guys.
Hey.
We are back. It's your fave Gem.
And it's your boy Chris. You guys already know the fucking vibes. We out here.
So it's been a while. We've been on like a little hiatus for a bit. Life
Like a psychological retreat.
Yes. We've been taking a long time to kind of get our shit together. And it's probably gonna happen again.
Probably. You know what's dope is I'm surprised how many people came up to me and were like, "Yo, when are we recording again?" And I'm like, "You guys actually like always, this shit? Like,
Yeah.
it's dope. It's cool. And like, not to say it's not, but it kind of threw me off. Like people at work, and then even some of my family and friends. Well, I don't have friends, but people, they're like, "Oh, yo, we're looking for the next episode," and then I'm always like telling them like, "Yeah, we're about to record," and then the hiatus picks up again, and then they're like, "Yo, where's the episode?" Oh, I don't know, man. But no, we out here now, so we appreciate y'all, checking up on us.
And me if we weren't cool anymore, and that's why we weren't recording, which is absolute dumb. Sometimes things happen. Chris and I lead two different complete lives. So we're kind of, going back and forth, but we're very understanding to each other. As much as we like to do this podcast, we do understand that shit happens, and we have to kind of be there for each other and allow each other to take the space and the time that we need. But
for sure.
People asking, we're still really good friends. We still talk, all the time. So that wasn't one of the reasons why we were not.
No, not at all. No. She's one of the only people that I'm still cool with, to be honest. You know what I mean? Like, I feel off with a lot of people, whether it's, because of me or them, that doesn't matter. It's them. I'm not taking blame for any of that shit. But, she's one of the people that I'm always cool with. And it's funny, I also kind of feel like whenever one of us is going through some shit, it's like both of us are, you know what I mean? Right, like, oh, yeah, I'm going through, oh, yeah, me too. Okay, cool, you understand. So it's like we don't really have to spend a lot of time explaining to each other why we kind of fall off or we kind of disappear for shit. Like we both know, like, oh, we're both going through bullshit. So
yeah,
it's cool. But like like I was just saying, I appreciate people who are kind of checking up on it and still down and our listeners and shit. So it's a cool thing. But hopefully I'm gonna do my best to stick to it this time and give
consistent.
y'all consistent content and just keep talking the bullshit that apparently you guys like. So, let's get right to the bullshit. Let's talk about a couple things, like personal, like changes in our lives. You know what I mean? Like, I haven't caught up with Jem in a little bit, so we're going to do it on the mic.
Yeah,
so what's up?
Changes in life.
What up with you?
Let's see. I celebrated my first year of marriage officially.
Congratulations on that. I wish I had an air horn.
It's been a rough ride, but we did celebrate our 1 year of marriage. Our son is turning 8 here soon. I am doing some medical schooling, so I've been kind of busy with that. But other than that, just the same old thing, getting back into the gym, getting my weight up, trying to fight this diabetes as hard as I can. So that's where I'm at right now. How about you, Chris?
I've been getting my weight up too, but not from the gym. Just been eating like a piece of shit. But other than that, no, it's congratulations on the anniversary. I know shit could be a rough, not that I know from experience, but I think I've dated enough to kind of get a glimpse of that, and it's cool to see Liam growing up and becoming the person that he's becoming. It's always cool to see. You looking at the positive shit or whatever shit might be going on in our lives. It's always kind of like good to look at the the positive things and then kind of look at other people that are dealing with way worse shit than you are, and that we are. But for me, I don't know what's been going on with me. I've been, I think last time we recorded, I was about to start my job at Rockwell.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm still there. I actually enjoy the job. Oh shit, Twitter wilding. I enjoy the job. It's actually a really cool job. I like the people I work with. It's a good vibration. So it's easy to show up to a place like that when you enjoy it.
Your place of employment.
Let's see what else. I broke my foot. I'm sure a lot of y'all know that. It was a stupid ass fucking freak accident.
Yeah, you did break your foot. How did that happen?
It was Labor Day. I went on my boy's boat as always, and long story short, I jumped in the boat as the boat was moving. I landed on my foot on the seat, and my foot kind of bent in, and then it was broken. And it's funny because every time I go in that boat, I get hurt. Last time before that was when I cut my leg open. Remember? That was the same boat. I'm going again Labor Day, so stay tuned.
Some other shit.
Yeah, it's probably an arm because I already did both legs. So I was out of work for a month, almost a month and a half because of that. Yeah, I
Wow.
was kind of expecting Rockwell to be like, "Nah, fam, you gotta go." But now they took me back in. Um, Actually, in that time, I wasn't really sure about Rockwell, so I had an interview and I got a job with DRS,
Hmm.
and I was like, "Let me try it out." But it was an overnight shift, so I did like 3 days of it, and I was like, "Nope." So
Yeah,
I'm
overnight shift is a killer.
nah, third day, and I mean, I didn't even get to do the overnight shift. I was doing day shift, like
Oh,
training, but
okay.
it wasn't my thing. So I was there for 3 days, and then I was like, no, I'm out. I went back to Rockwell. Like Rockwell, hopefully none of my coworkers are listening because they didn't know I did that. I just thought I was out on like medical leave. But
Right.
that's really it. I mean, personal things have been going on too, but I don't, nothing I really want to get into. I'm in a good position. I'm in a relationship with somebody. She's good, good for me. She's great. Got a good head on her shoulders. So
Good.
there's that. That's really it. I'm school also.
Good. Yeah,
Next
school's a
semester as
killer
well
right
for sure.
now.
I gotta finish up. I'm ready to do my own thing. I'm ready to just be my own boss and do what I
Yeah.
want to do.
Yeah, it's really hard
Um,
working for, someone else
for
and
sure. Whether you like your job or not, it's you can't compare it to just be, you being your own boss and just kind
right.
of controlling things in your own way. So
So, with that being said, let's talk about Jay-Z partnering up with the NFL.
yeah, how do you feel about
Speaking
that?
of being your own boss, so I kind of have mixed feelings about it. I think social media is, it's
Blowing it out
obviously, social media takes all these things and it blows it up. I
for
understand
sure.
that.
It's
But at
good.
the same
I'm
time,
good for
I
that.
feel like, as a black, woman,
Hmm.
I feel like I have some regards, towards how Jay Z is partnering with the NFL, especially with all the things going on with the NFL, with Kaepernick kneeling and things like that. But at the same time, I'm kind of looking at this from a business perspective.
For sure.
I had my own business for a while. I still do. And you really want to make whatever moves you can in order to expand, the monetary value of your company, of your brand. And I feel like, people are kind of looking into this very roughly and kind of judging Jay, but I really feel like this is a
Selfishly.
right. This is a power move for him. This is something that's going to bring more money, to his family and to him and his brand. So I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Sean King definitely knows how to rile up the community, and he is
100. Yeah.
definitely doing
He's
that.
wilding.
Yeah, with this, he's definitely taken this to a huge extreme. Because what if Jay Z is doing this, to show people, hey, black people are going to be involved regardless of what you guys try to do. Like this could be like an opening, for Jay Z to kind of come in there and do
Right.
something else.
Plus, see what he can do for the culture. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
now that when somebody's directly involved with something like a company or anything that's obviously hasn't been making the right choices lately,
Hmm.
it's easier to kind of you know from the inside work on shit. So maybe you know what I mean. Like he can do some good. Like now that he's in part owner, thing of the NFL is what it is that he can get rid of all the unfair treatments and everything
Right.
and
Make some
and make
changes.
some positive changes for the culture. Kind of further what Kaepernick tried to do and
Yeah.
take it to the next level. So like my thing is like we don't know what he's doing. We don't know what. I think the way it was kind of announced and some of the wording
The
could have been
terminology.
better
Yeah. The term.
because that's what's throwing a lot of people off and making Jay
Yeah.
Z look in the way that some people think he is. But I think that we just gotta wait and see
And you
what he's
gotta.
gonna do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and you got to
What
think about it too. Jay Z is a street boy from Brooklyn,
and
and
he's done a lot.
he's done a lot. He's a very smart businessman.
Yeah.
If the last album that he put out, he kind of went deeper into who he is and who he
Well, 444.
on
Yeah,
444. He
that's my
kind of
shit.
he went very deep.
Yeah.
So I think listening to that album kind of would give you a kind of hint of who Jay Z really is. And I mean,
I mean, he even helped. He was he got me out of prison.
he got me
He's
out
done
of
a lot.
prison.
So it's like
He
if he's getting maybe that's the kind of agenda that he has in being involved in the
yeah, he
NFL. If that's
was
the case, then I'm all for it.
exactly. He
I
was
don't know
involved
shit
with the
about the
Khalif
NFL.
Browder,
Right.
documentary. So I feel like, like you said, the way that it was worded, kind of set everybody off into this like
Right.
spiral of, oh, well, Jay's doing this, and he's, mingling with the oppressor, and all those things like that. And it was kind of just like, hey, like give him a chance
Right.
to kind of show you guys what he's about to do.
Plus, no matter who you are and what you're doing and what your intent is and your motive, you're never gonna make everybody happy. No matter
Right.
what you're
People are
doing,
always
there's
gonna
always
talk.
right. There's always gonna be people, a group of people that are not gonna be okay with what you're saying and doing, and they're gonna have their shit to say. So all I can say about that is we just gotta wait and see what kind of motive he has for that and what his plans are. Plus, he's in charge of this halftime
Yeah. So now he can
show,
kind
so
of
that's gonna be
do
sad because it's been kind of whack.
it.
He's probably gonna have
I,
Beyonce every fucking year from
I
now
feel
on,
like
but I'm
every
cool with
year it
that.
just gets worse and worse.
If he's gonna have like people from his label, he better have like Rihanna on that shit.
Yeah,
Like
she should be there, and I think
that'd be
Rihanna
dope.
has also made her viewpoints clear on how she feels. But at the
Right.
same time, I don't know. I just feel like this is something that we definitely need to kind of watch, and we need to
Yeah.
just take a step back and let him do what he's gonna do.
He knows what he's doing. He's more,
He does.
I
He
don't.
does.
He hasn't led, the culture down yet, and I don't think he's about to start, especially with something as big as the NFL.
Right. I think he knows exactly what he's doing.
So yeah, I think we just gotta wait and see. And I mean, like, as far as the NFL goes, I don't know a fucking thing about
Me
football,
neither.
but I
don't
know
really.
I keep up with the culture and what's going on in the inside of what's everything that was happening with Kaepernick and all the kneeling and everything. That I read up on it.
Right.
Well, because I don't want to go blindly into a podcast and be like, well, I don't know what this is about, but let's just talk about it.
Yeah. So it's good to
But
do your research on
right,
mostly
but
everything.
I do know about, like, as far as the other side of the NFL, aside from the actual games and the sports. I'm kind of familiar with, so let's just see, and I'm hoping that he
Something good comes out.
something good comes out of it. The halftime shows are good. The commercials. I don't know if he has anything to do with the commercials, but they've been
Something.
trash. They've been trash lately.
Yeah, it's been trash.
So let's
Speaking
see.
of trash, okay, we're gonna get into our next topic, and it kind of seems like we're rushing. We're not. We just are excited to get back into this. But this is also a topic that I'm very passionate on. So we're talking about overcoming an addiction, and lately I've been realizing that you can be pretty much addicted to anything.
Anything these days, yeah.
For me, I'm just gonna throw myself out there and throw myself under the bus. I'm addicted to my phone. There are times where I have to physically hand my phone to my husband to put in his pocket, so I'm not on my phone when I'm out grocery shopping or someplace that I kind of need to pay attention
Right.
To. And I mean, I've been watching this docuseries on YouTube, and it is about addictions, and it really goes into why people are addicted to the things that they're addicted to. For me, my phone is a safety blanket.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
If I'm out, I don't want people trying to talk to me.
That's your
I'm
go-to.
very friendly, but I'm just trying to grocery shop.
You know what I'm doing? I got a new way to do that. Like, I'm the weekend shift at Rockwell, so I get like an hour lunch. So I be going. It's right down the street from the mall, so I be going to the mall most of the time and get lunch because there's I have choices of what I want to eat. So what I realize is if I go in there with my badge, nobody's gonna fucking talk to me. Because if you walk somebody and you see him and they have their badge, you automatically gonna think, oh, he's a rush. He's Russian. He's on his lunch break. Like, let me not waste time. And I'm like, oh, that's dope.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's but I do see the point about the phone being, because I find myself doing it. Like, if I'm gonna, like, even if I'm at the mall with somebody, let's say you're with somebody at the mall and they go to the bathroom and you gotta wait for them. Like, that's my first thing. I'm pulling my phone out because I don't want nobody talking to me, looking at me. You know what I mean?
And
so
everything's just it's almost like a sort of like an anxiety thing.
Yeah, for
where,
sure.
You need to have your phone. I think, I do feel myself being an addict in that sense. Now, let's talk about.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I went to. I mean, there's a couple of things that I would say I'm maybe addicted to. My phone being one of them, and I kind of taking steps to not be on it so much. Like, if those of you that know me well, know that I just kind of disappeared from the social media. That's kind of went towards other reasons for it, but I think me not being on social media kind of helps not being on my phone, checking every 5 seconds. Like, I have a Twitter. I kept Twitter because it's how I stay informed. Twitter is good for informing me, whether it's shit by soccer that I like or shit that's going on that I want to talk about on here. That's cool. Topics. But yeah, was that a Drake bar? Hot topics like your everyday clothes. Hey, but yeah, this addiction is hard, but it's like knowing. I think the first thing when you recognize something as an addiction, that's I think it's the first step towards overcoming it, is like realizing that it's a problem. Like, because not a lot of people see being on their phone as an addiction because everybody's doing it. So they're like, no, there's no way I'm addicted because everybody in the world doing it, but
yeah, and I think
it is.
and people can be addicted to coffee. People can be addicted to tea. There's so many things that we can be addicted to, and I kind of want to switch this over to drug
I
use
think I'm
and
addicted to coffee. I think
things like that. So one of the things that we're seeing is the amount of people overdosing in our
it's
area,
awful. You know how many
and
people I lost that I graduated high school with because of that
yeah,
shit. Like when
I feel like
I went to my high school reunion last. I'm like aging myself right now, but yeah, my high school reunion was I believe last month,
mhm.
and there was so many people that weren't there because of that shit, and
Yeah,
it's like it's crazy.
yeah, I was actually I work for a medical office, and there was actually a woman who overdosed in the parking lot across the street from our office.
Oh shit.
And it's kind of to the point where you can't even really react anymore because you're so used to hearing this news.
Hmm.
And for me, I'm 2 years clean. And
Congrats on that too. That's just
it's hard because all around you just see these people being addicted to these things, and nobody's really people are just so judgmental. And that's one thing
hmm
that I'm really trying to understand, and I'm trying to kind of get out there, is that if we see people that are using, that are addicts, you know judging them does not help them get
it's not. It's
sober.
making it worse. No,
Yeah,
you're not.
judging people in their addictions does not help them get sober. Being honest with them, yes, that's one thing. But
People,
just
people don't realize that. Not, I'm not saying everybody, but a lot of people that become addicted to drugs or start using them are
genetic.
because they're being judged so
Yeah,
much.
and I feel
So it's
like
like, what do you think you're doing when you're judging them even more?
and a lot of it is genetic. I don't think people really get that. Like, are we actually like? I mean, people our age, I think now we're starting to kind of understand it
We're
more.
becoming more aware of
Right,
everything,
that it is
especially
a
yeah,
genetic thing. Whereas to the people before us, it's just like, oh, so and so's a crackhead, so and so's X Y Z,
right.
and it's like, but why is that person like that? When you kind of delve into the psychological part of it, you kind of
hmm
look at that person's background as a whole. You look at their
Nature versus nurture, kind of.
yeah, you look at their genetics, and you see, like, if your dad was addicted to something, you have a greater chance too
The
of
tendency
trying
of yeah,
something and being addicted to it as
right.
well.
But the flip side of that, I think, is that a lot of people. Okay, I don't want to say a lot of people because that sounds bad. Some people might use as an excuse to
Mhm.
tell you that there's no way they can get clean and overcome that addiction because it's genetic. But
Right.
that's not it. You can your people underestimate the power of like your mind and your brain. Like
Right.
your mind can literally make you do anything. So like yeah, it's it could be genetic. It could be tendencies because you grew up around it, but that doesn't really necessarily mean that you have to lead the same path because of that.
Right,
You
and I
know,
think that it's just the more that we the more that we are open to understanding, the more that we educate ourselves, we'll be able to actually help those,
yeah,
to
that's
overcome.
what it is. You gotta educate yourself, even if and I think it's kind of ignorant for people who are not directly dealing with it to
Mhm.
not feel like they don't need to be informed about it. You don't know. There's so many people that are like
It's the
closet addicts,
but
and you don't
it's
know.
the it doesn't affect me mindset. It's that selfish
Yeah,
and
exactly.
ignorant
Like, why should I give a
mindset.
fuck? Why should I read up on that? You don't know the people. There might be people close to you that you don't know that could
Yeah,
become addicted to something out of nowhere, or that you didn't know about it now. You
yeah. A
know,
couple of weeks ago, someone actually confided in me about their past as a child and things like that, and it was just
hmm
really heavy that sometimes we don't really think about what other people are going through. We kind of
no,
just
brush it off.
yeah, we hear a couple of things that they say, and automatically we've made up our minds about their
Right.
personalities. But a lot of people are struggling with things,
Yeah.
and overcoming an addiction is really hard. I speak from experience, because I openly have talked about this before on my social media. But for 2 years,
And that's a lot. That's
yeah,
a lot to even be able to talk about it,
it's hard.
especially on social media, where it's the most judgmental place in the fucking world.
Yeah,
And
and I
that's a
feel
lot.
like
That's mad props.
at first I was kind of like hurt, and I was kind of scared, to kind of put that out there. But for me, overcoming my addiction was very hard. The nights that I've spent, crying and being, hurt through my own actions. I'm thankful that I have, good people in my life who were there for me and didn't make me feel
For
like,
sure.
I was like a junkie or whatever. Because everybody's story starts from someplace, and I had my own story as to, like you were saying, kind of like an excuse as to what led me to do what I was doing. But at the end of the day, I was able to kind of face myself and really understand why it is, why I use both my biological parents have addiction tendencies themselves.
Hmm.
So it kind of made sense to me when I started to understand this addiction, and realize that it was a disease and that I was sick at the moment. It kind of made sense, and it was kind of easier
Right.
to to overcome that and get through that.
Plus, you kind of realizing that you have people that you know need
Yeah,
you and they're counting on you.
yeah,
It's kind of like that little bit of motivation,
that you can
extra
get.
motivation that you get when you look at it, like, oh shit, these people. You know what I mean? I can't. I gotta come out. So it's good to see people coming out of it, and it just makes it. It's not impossible. People can
Yeah,
overcome it, but
you can do it. And utilize one thing I've noticed about our community is like the other day I was realizing I talk so much shit about living in Melbourne and Palm Bay, but I did realize that we have so many things going on here that we really
this
don't
place
know
is fucking
about.
toxic.
It is very toxic. But at the same time, there are a lot of people here that do have good intentions at
Yeah.
heart. Like I started to go to meetings because I think people are under this assumption like once you get clean, that's all you need to do.
Yeah.
You need to
No.
constantly be keeping yourself. What's the term? You need to keep yourself accountable
Yeah.
for maintaining
And I think that's
that.
harder even
Yeah,
than
to maintain that
yeah.
sobriety. And there are a lot of
100%.
people here, that have meetings where you can kind of just sit with other people who have been through what you've been through. And so if you're listening and you have ever struggled with alcoholism or anything like that, definitely utilize these programs. These people are just like you and I. They're
Yeah.
they've struggled with this addiction, and they're getting help for it, and they're keeping themselves accountable for everything that they've gone through.
And that's the one place where I feel like you can count on not being judged,
Yeah,
no matter what you got to talk about. You know
definitely.
what I mean? Because there's people in there that hard, is bad off for maybe worse than you, so you're not gonna be judged. So did you see? Speaking about this place actually having some kind of positive impact. There's a place that opened up in Melbourne. I don't know the name. Coastal. It's pretty much like an
For
urgent
mental
care
health.
for mental
Okay,
health.
yeah.
It's like psychiatrists, like
Yeah, that's
urgent care.
awesome.
Yeah, it's really cool. I feel like that's really
That's definitely
should be
needed.
something that should be everywhere and like,
Yeah,
easily accessible.
people need therapy, and I feel
For
like
sure.
our culture is so toxic. Our parents basically, not my parents. I'm saying our parents in the fact like our parents' generation. A lot of these people don't believe in mental health issues. They
No.
don't believe that we need therapy and we need counseling. And here we are, years later, a bunch of crippled, anxious people
Hmm.
who don't know how to handle emotions. So it's a good thing to utilize these programs, to utilize, your therapy centers, and even if you can't afford it, there are definitely ways around it
Yeah.
that you can get help.
Yeah, because
So
even like if you go to like the health department, they have counselors there for you, or like low
yeah,
cost to no cost, depending on
it's like a
what you
sliding
make
scale, I
with it.
believe.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's like
$10.
yeah. So this is the research. You got to do the research. Help is out there. Unfortunately, it's not as advertised as it should be, which is why
Right.
a lot of people are kind of ignorant to the
Look at how
fact.
they advertise this Popeye's chicken.
You know what I mean? Like how
Like
we got so much shit going down.
they advertise this Popeye's chicken like it was the return of Christ. But yet, nobody's
Yeah,
advertising the fact that these people need mental help. They need therapists, and I mean, it's really weird. It's just weird to me that
it is.
that's what the culture is.
Yeah, and
Like a
it's
chicken sandwich is more important than staying off drugs or
anything,
getting
right,
help.
right, or even the shit that's going down with the Amazon fires,
Yeah,
or everything that's going on. It's like, why are we making such a big, like, you guys realize that all these people talking about, you guys are making, was it Popeyes?
yeah, Popeyes, yeah.
You're making them millions,
And the
and
crazy
you're not getting
part,
a fucking thing out of it
well, I
except for a
got
chicken
well,
sandwich.
it's funny because people were posting on Twitter. They were posting pictures of the workers and laughing at them, and I'm like, dude, like these people have to stand there
Yeah,
for hours to make you a chicken sandwich, and it's like it's really not, to me, it's
no,
not
it's
funny.
not.
These people, they're gonna make what, $8 an hour and then go back and try to afford to pay their rent and stuff, and you guys are laughing at them over a fucking chicken
Hmm.
sandwich. Like, come on, you know what I mean? I feel like there's so many other things that we need to focus on, and I'm not saying we can't have a laugh or two and
Right? Yeah,
enjoy ourselves, but I mean, I think this generation really takes the cake when it comes to enjoying themselves because everything is a fucking joke. You know
and
what
I
I mean?
yeah, and I feel like with this chicken sandwich, um, because it became such a viral thing that a lot of people are going to eat it because they saw
I
people
haven't
eating
even
it.
eaten it
Me
yet.
neither.
I
Nor
don't
do I
plan.
even
I
give a
don't
fuck
plan
about
on
it.
it. I don't plan.
Chicken's
Yeah.
chicken.
If
I don't, I don't care about
if
it.
I happen to be there, yeah, I stop by. But I'm not going
Like,
crazy.
yo, if you if you're listening and you're gonna bring me one to work, be my guest. But I'm not
Yeah,
going out of my way. And I just feel like it's that viral wave that people love to hop on. Like, oh,
on everything.
it's going viral, so it's got I have to try it.
Yeah,
But like,
I'm
if
really
it wasn't
not.
going viral, would you really get out of your way to go to
Right.
Popeyes?
Because
Like,
I mean,
no.
yeah,
It's just one of those things that's like
it's
I'm doing
popular
it.
right
Yeah,
now.
exactly. But
Yeah.
it's like, why can't we take that,
Why
all
can't
that
we take
intensity and all the support and
and
put
put
it
it into
towards shit
our
that matters?
communities?
Right.
Yeah, put it into opening, addiction centers where people can come and talk and get these things out. Healthcare, professionals can come out and help these people. But we're so focused on a fucking chicken
What's cool? Yeah,
sandwich.
let's we should focus on what's cool, what's popping right now. Like, I mean, like you said, there's nothing wrong with kind of looking at things that are positive also on social
Right.
media and
I mean, we
laughing
can
and
have
everything.
fun and
But
we
it's
can.
like, fam,
We're
it's
we're
too
hu- we're
much.
only human. We definitely are only human. But at the same time, I think that we have really got off track when it comes to how we treat other people and
Hmm.
how we, label other people. And I have this friend that I'm able to talk to about these things because he's very biased towards everything. He kind of looks at everything in a, just a simple light. And we talked about this the other day, and he pretty much just told me, it's human nature, which is really, when you think about it, it's really sad that it's human nature to look at someone on the street and automatically assume, okay, well, this person's just a crackhead or this person is just, XYZ. So
Yeah.
I think that's it's pretty
Yeah,
rough.
assumptions is nothing good ever comes out of assumptions. But I will say that, like, when I see people, and this just might be me, but when I see people out there, asking for money, and they have all limbs, they're standing, and you're out there like you could get a job.
I'm kind
It's
of like,
easy. It's
well, I'm half
easy.
and half on that because I feel like a lot of these people, they're dealing with addiction, they're dealing with,
Right.
all this
That's
trauma.
the other side of the coin on that.
Right. So,
Internally.
and we got to think about too. Your brain doesn't function that well after. Let's say you got sober for 5 days. Okay. Your brain is now trying to catch up with whatever how old you are, trying to catch up
Mm.
with the emotional
Yeah, I
maturity,
didn't even think of that.
of who you are. So a lot of these people, like we see them,
Can we
and
edit this out? I feel like an asshole now.
I mean, no, it's okay because I would do the same thing. I
But
mean,
see, that's what it is.
growing up in New York, that's the culture that we were
Right.
used to. If you would see someone on the side of the street, automatically, okay, that person is a crackhead.
Same when I came back from Colombia. The city that I'm from is pretty much New York City, but bigger. It's the same
Right.
shit. But this just brings me exactly to a point that we were just talking about when you made a great point, and I never thought about that. But that just shows how ignorant we can be to mental health. Like, I never fucking thought about the fact that they might be dealing with some internal
Yeah,
addiction
because when
or
you
mental health that is keeping them from being able to
yeah,
show up to a job every day.
because when you
So
abuse drugs, when you abuse alcohol,
hmm,
your brain pretty much stops maturing at that point
yeah,
because all you're doing is looking for the next high. So when you're finally able to be sober, you're pretty much dealing with all these emotions that were suppressed by the addiction. So I think that's one thing that we can really we can try to understand and tell ourselves. I feel like I always get judged for giving people on the street, a dollar or two. And I think to myself, I was there
I
at
just
one.
give them food.
Yeah, I mean food too,
That's
because
what I always
that
do.
helps because they're probably hungry. So I think definitely we just need to educate ourselves a bit more and really, like my friend said, it's human nature, but we're able to change, that human nature. We're able to be compassionate. We're able to be understanding, and this is a generation of research
Yeah,
of scientists.
we have the resources.
We have the resources to think beyond our ignorant
100%.
thoughts and our
Yeah.
past. So
You know what I don't like when I'm downtown, for example, and I've been drinking because I'm one of those people that when I'm drinking, I'm generous. Like, I'm the one that's buying everybody that I'm with drinks. You all get shot, whatever. And these motherfuckers always get me. And I'm drunk and I'm like, oh, yo, I'm hungry. I want a slice of pizza. No, I get a whole pie. Here, it's fucking
here's
$30.
$30.
You
Buy
know what I
your
mean? And then I
pizza.
get home and I'm like, where's all my money? I'm like, oh, shit.
Yeah, that's me too. I'm
Like,
like,
can y'all get me when I'm sober so I can be like, nah, fam, I'll buy you a slice and
well,
that's it.
I
But
always feel bad
they
when I'm driving down
know.
the street and I see somebody walking. I was telling my kids this earlier. I see somebody walking down the street. I want to give them a ride. I'm like, fuck, it's so hot
I
outside.
do
Oh my
too, but then
god.
I think about all the movies that I've seen and I'm like, nah, fam.
Yeah, it's so
I'm
funny.
not
I was
trying to get
telling someone
murked.
that I watch so many scary movies that the moment I meet someone new and they're like, "You want to come over?" I'm like, "Are you trying to fucking
Nope.
murder me?"
Yeah, yeah.
Like
Like, what if I want to like, what? You don't know shit about me. Why you inviting me? Yeah, people see
right. It's weird.
horror
Um,
movies have fucking killed a lot of shit for me. Like that movie The Hitcher and whatever. This
Did you see there's a movie on Netflix? It's so off topic. Movie on not Netflix. It's
No, it's
on
nothing. That's off
Hulu.
topic.
Something Cloverfield Killer, and it
Mm-mm.
like fucked me up. Dylan McDermott is in it.
Oh, really?
I'm used to him being like a funny
Yeah,
character,
yeah.
but he plays like a serial
I'm gonna check
killer.
it out.
It's really. I definitely think if you're into that kind of shit, you should
Speaking of
definitely.
serial killers, and I'm not trying to plug Netflix or nothing, but Mindhunter
Okay, so I didn't even
season
know.
two,
Well, someone told me
that was
that
my
it was back on.
shit.
Didn't even know that there was a season 2, so I need to catch up on
It just
that.
came out, I believe, like last Friday. I
Okay, okay.
finished it. It's it's one of the rare shows that the second season is better than the first
Well,
one.
that's
It
on
was
my
amazing.
list, and 13 Reasons Why, which is getting a lot of hate. It's getting a lot of hate.
I saw the
Um,
first couple episodes of the first season. I liked it. I don't know why I got
it's kind of
distracted from it.
it's kind of hard to keep going because okay, here's the thing: the acting is fucking terrible.
I think that's what kind
But
of
the
killed it for
storyline
me.
is good. The
I think that's
storyline
what
is
killed it.
yeah, the storyline is good, but the acting is fucking sucks. So definitely that's something that I would like to
Yeah, we don't need to plug in these shows because we're not getting the money out of it. So fuck
yeah,
Netflix and
we're
all
not
them, and
we're not gonna do
especially Netflix raising the
reviews.
prices. And I can't talk
Oh
shit.
yeah.
Wait, I don't know, but I'm using my girls now, so fuck it,
Um.
fuck y'all.
So let's see what our next topic
What
is.
we have now? So we've recovered. Wait, one kind of getting back to an addiction. Just for a side note, do you think people can be addicted to other people?
Oh yeah,
Is that like a
definitely.
real?
So okay, I think it's funny that you say that because I was
Tell
just
me more.
telling my friend who is in the middle of a kind of toxic relationship. But to her, it seems like the right choice to stay in that relationship. And I kind of felt the same way when I was in my my first marriage.
Right.
You get addicted to the being comfortable. You get addicted to the
So it's a more
just
like
the
an addiction
routine.
to the feeling and the affection.
I think it is an addiction to comfortability. I think as people, for example, you move in with someone, and I'm speaking of this is like a real life thing that's happening.
Hmm.
You move in with someone, and that doesn't work out. And you drive yourself crazy about it because you are so addicted to being comfortable that if I say to you, hey, I'm not with so and so anymore and I want to move out, and you're like, okay, well that's normal. Why don't you just move out? It sounds like it's when someone
I
says
hate
it
when
to
people
you,
say that shit to you. Why don't you
it
just do it so and so? Like,
it
bitch, if it was that
seems
easy, I wouldn't even be
right
talking to you
exactly.
about it.
If it was easy to just like move out of someone's you know
Life,
life, you could do it easily.
for
But I feel
sure.
like we get addicted to to being comfortable. So we'll stay with our partner for 10 years until the kids graduate because you're addicted to being comfortable.
Hmm.
I feel
Whether
like
it's morally, financially, all that shit.
right. So I definitely think you can be addicted to other people. I was friends with someone for 12 years almost, and I was addicted to her friendship. And everybody on the outside looking in would be like, "What the hell is your problem? Like she treats you like shit."
Like it was
But
toxic, kind of.
but I was addicted to that because I was so comfortable with her
Right.
knowing everything about me that I couldn't separate the two. So I definitely think you can be addicted to people 100%.
That's another thing that I also learned, and this kind of plays into the being in a relationship that is obviously
Hmm.
toxic, and this kind of plays more. It affects more women than it does to men, just because the way that we're wired.
Right.
So like if you're like, for example, if you're in an abusive relationship, let's say, and you know fights happen, things get out of hand,
Hmm.
and this is shit isn't really talked about. So it just kind of, I'm sorry, okay, me too. Let's just leave it at that, and it starts building up, and it builds up more and more, and the more tension builds up until one day the man snaps and beats the woman.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
so this happens the moment and obviously I'm leaving you, you piece of shit, whatever. This happens somehow. The man manages to get back into the woman's life, and at this time, this is what they call the. This is like a psychological thing that I learned in one of my classes.
Hmm.
They call it like the honeymoon stage because in
Yeah,
this, like it's like a 6 month period, 3 to 6 months.
where everything is just great.
Right, the man is doing everything he can. He's buying you jewelry. He's buying you a new car. He's bringing you flowers every day,
Right.
taking you out. It gets back to like the beginning of the relationship. Like subconsciously, women crave that. So a
Yeah,
lot of women are willing to put up with the abuse, and whether it's physical or mental, whatever
because
it
they're
is.
comfortable with.
Yeah, because
Yeah,
they know that once it's over, they get to experience the honeymoon stage again,
yeah.
and it's a fucked up thing, and I think that's kind of leads back to the addiction. Because if you can put that next to, side by side with drugs, like you obviously know that drugs are, slowly killing you.
Yeah.
And why not put in weed, because weed's not a drug.
Yeah,
So
I
we're
don't think
taking
that's
that way out of the fucking conversation. But let's say hardcore shit like coke or heroin, meth, whatever kids are doing these days. You know that it's bad for you and it's killing you, but at that moment where you're high, you feel like you're on top of the fucking world.
right.
You feel powerful. You feel like, you know what I mean. And so
you do it. You do whatever it takes for that rush. And
right.
I feel like same with me. Before I was married and.
So relationships are drugs, pretty much what I'm saying.
I mean, before I was married, I was constantly chasing this high. From person to person, because
right.
every time you sleep with someone, it would always be like, okay, well, let's see if we can top this. It really does become
I was the same way.
a vicious cycle of addiction, of just this tedious thing that we do to ourselves, just like using drugs. I mean, popping a pill, like, injecting yourself. It's just a thing that we do because we are constantly looking for that next high.
Well, me and my daughter's mom, broke up. That's what that's what I went to. I mean, after, see, the thing, I didn't do it at first. When we first broke up, I'm sorry, I was on my own, and I kind of fell off. I disappeared. I didn't talk to anybody. I didn't really, I was just on my, and I started drinking heavily. And then after I got past the whole drinking heavily kind of thing, that's when I started looking for ways to fill that void.
Right.
It was looking for my own high in my own way, which was hooking up with women.
Right.
So I went on, back on my Facebook, and I started talking to women that I didn't talk to when I was in a relationship. And you're looking for that, but deep down you realize how toxic that is. Like, you're
it's a cycle, but
not only for you, but for the people, the other people you're involved in. Like all the women that I was involved in, I know I was toxic. And if any of you guys are listening, probably not, because they're probably all blocked me. It's like, I apologize, because I know that shit was toxic, and I admit that I used a lot of those women to kind of get past that bullshit. You know what I mean?
Right. So it's like, yeah. So pretty much, yeah. You can be addicted to anything. Any step that you take to overcome anything is a good step. So we're gonna wrap up this topic. And Chris, what's next on your list?
So it's more of a question, I guess. How do you feel about artists? This is kind of getting off the serious shit and going more into the, we got to have at least one spicy topic on our shit. But kind of talking about the artists being obligated to respond to, criticism on social media, or, more of the criticism, because obviously it's cool to respond to when you're being praised on social media, or for anything you do, but are artists obligated to respond to hate?
So, okay. I have definitely seen, and I want to say for this topic, I want to use James Charles as an example. I really cannot stand him, but I do want to use this opportunity to kind of like talk about, how he handles it. So basically, I feel like every time an artist does something, we don't really think of them as human beings. So we give all these reviews, we say all these things.
No, we kind of think of them more of like machines,
right?
In a way,
think
right?
That they are literally made to entertain and create us. I mean, they're literally created to entertain us. So I feel like every time they do something, whether it's good or bad, there's always going to be some hearsay or whatever about what they're doing. So my thing is, why shouldn't they be able to defend themselves? Their feelings get hurt, I'm sure.
Right.
I'm sure, as an actress or as a rapper or whatever, let's say you spend, a year working on an album. And then you finally put it out and everybody's like, wow, this shit is so trash. Like, and you spent a year putting your
like Chance the Rapper?
Right.
His album was, I don't know.
It was trash. I'm just going to say it. Jeezy's new album, trash.
Is it?
Trash.
See, I haven't heard it because I was kind of
scared.
Afraid of that.
Yeah.
And, a lot of people were like, oh, it's fire. But most of the people that were saying it was fire are, dick writers.
Right.
So I didn't really listen to it.
Yeah.
I'm obviously going to listen to it because I want to have my own perception on it. But it's like, And
it's like, this might be like the shortest topic we cover, but I truly feel like it is okay for them to respond to criticism. When James Charles was under, fire for the last couple of months, he had this issue going on with Tatiana, and there was all this other stuff. And if you don't know, these people are YouTubers who just do makeup reviews and stuff, and now they have all this money.
Come on, man.
So he was called out, from for
That's
some negative
wild.
behavior and some things that he has done. And if you follow the kid, you can pretty much see where that was coming from. He's just trash. But he did, a couple of times publicly put out different statements to kind of defend himself. And the criticism really drove him, I guess, to a point where he felt like, he was having a mental breakdown. He felt like he needed to go into some type of therapy and stuff. And I think we forget that these people are people too. If somebody
Right.
if somebody were to call us out, somebody say, okay, Chris, you're, XYZ, Chris, be out here doing whatever. I feel like,
I'm like, you're not wrong. You're right. You're right.
But I've done it too, where I've heard
Right.
people, rumors and stuff about me.
Oh, 100%.
And I go out and I say, listen, okay, this is how I feel about this. Y'all not gonna make me feel XYZ. You know what I mean?
But I guess more to, yeah, and you have a good point. But I mean, for me, my question is more like, of course, like you said, you're everybody. They're human beings, and
Yeah.
a lot of, like I said, a lot of times they're viewed as machines, where they're expected to always, like an
No.
example of a musician, or of an artist, or a rapper, or a singer, where they're always expected to put a masterpiece out, and a lot of times they're not, and so it's like it's okay for you to defend yourself, because you're defending your work, you're
Right.
defending what you're proud of, have been working on for, like, however long. But is there a point where you should just not, more like, you know what I mean, like, is there like an
I
extreme where you kind of just back off and let, because like I said earlier, you're never gonna please everybody. So it's like, should there be a time, a point in time where this is happening, where you should just kind of back up and say, okay, well, you know what, this isn't, I'm not gonna please everybody. My core fans know who I am. Let me back off and let them talk the talk, because I feel like that, in a way, that could also kind of affect them negatively.
I mean,
And because it could also kind of, if you're in a way where, like, for example, if you're an artist and you put out an album, and now you're getting ready to go on tour and everything, and you have to do all these press runs and all this shit, but you start responding and kind of getting really involved into, like, the hate on social media, I feel like that could also affect your next steps negatively, because now your head's not completely in that. You know what I mean?
I really think it's based on.
So that's why we're not
Cool.
like that famous, because I don't want to deal with all that. That's what we,
I think it's really like personal preference. I mean, there are celebrities that you never hear a single peep about.
Right.
Even when something negative is said about them, they just don't respond.
fuck
I mean,
with them.
perfect example. Look at Beyonce. People say shit about her all the time. I
And-
have never seen her publicly go on her social media and post, at this time I would like to say X. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and J. Cole, Kendrick.
Right. People
kinda
say all
people.
these things about them, but they never go on and do
Right.
that. Whereas
And I also feel like their level of superstardom kind of plays into that.
I mean,
where they're
but-
they're so big that they feel like they don't need to.
But they seem like they are comfortable enough with themselves
Right.
to understand that
Yeah,
negative
and I think
criticism
exactly.
will
Right.
happen. And then you have
That's a
these-
good point. I feel like they have enough self-confidence in their work that they know that
Right.
whatever
Bad things are
whoever's
gonna
saying,
happen.
yeah.
Like James Charles, Taylor Swift. Some of these people go on, and every time something negative is said about them, they jump at that to defend themselves. And it's like,
Right.
bro, like I think that just goes to show you like their state of mind. If you're comfortable with yourself,
Insecurities kind of
right, you're
play into
comfortable with
that.
yourself, and you're not insecure about your artwork. You know that there are gonna be times where you make a bomb ass album, or you put out a bomb ass movie, or you put out a bomb ass fashion line.
Sex tape.
You like
I don't know.
like, perfect example, Kim Kardashian, Khloe, all them. Every time something negative is said, they have to go on Instagram or go on Twitter and respond.
Oh,
And it's
for
like,
sure.
you know what? You, compared to us, we're peasants. You guys could literally buy our lives 3-4 times over. So I kind of feel like to the point where, if you're that insecure that you have to respond to these people who have nothing better to do
Right.
than to criticize you, where is your...
Because if you're gonna do that, you're gonna spend the rest of your life doing it. Because, like I said again, you're never gonna please everybody. So it's like, why? That's just kind of like what I was bringing back to my point. Like, why continue to give your energy towards
Right,
that? Where
just
you can
don't.
put it in. You know what I mean?
And I think this is something that we can, we're going to wrap up here, guys, but I definitely think this is something that we can take for all of us. One of my favorite things about Chris is that he just doesn't care. He doesn't allow people's opinions and words to kind of build his identity.
No, I just yeah.
And I'm the opposite. Every time someone says something about me, I want to instantly defend myself. I want to go make a status. I want to go make a post. And it's
that's what
ridiculous.
When the people ask me, like, it's one of my favorite questions that I get asked on a daily is, why do you have so many tattoos? Because I don't even know how many I have anymore. I just got a new one.
Will
See
you
my
stop
new
counting?
one?
I do.
My Freddie
I love
Mercury.
this,
That's my
yeah.
shit. Anyways, people look at me and like, wow, you have so many tattoos. Aren't you kind of like, don't you like get self-conscious about the way society looks at you, like the older society, or if you're going for a job interview, or and I'm just responding. I'm telling, look, I have a great fucking paying job now. I've had great interviews that I've killed with many tattoos that people see because my hands are tattooed. So I don't, I can't cover those, nor do I want to. So
Right.
it's like that's what it is. It's like I just don't, I don't really. It's not just that I don't give a fuck about people's opinions, but I just don't. I don't want to put my energy towards trying to explain myself
Right.
to people.
Constantly, all the
Like
time.
even my family, like
It's just
they
not
were
worth
mad
it.
against me getting tattoos. Like this is my first one was on my arm, and they were like, "Oh, that's it. You're not getting." I'm like, "Yeah, yeah." And then I just kept getting more. Now they're to a point where they're like, "We give up because he's not."
Right. What's the point of trying to
So it's like I
continuously?
just to me I feel like there's so many other things that you can kind of put your energy towards than trying to please everybody because you're never going to.
Right.
And that's another thing, like kind of like goes off to before we wrap up, another thing that we have with the topic. So Sway Lee and Drake dropped a song. I don't know if you heard it.
I
I think
haven't
it's
heard it
called
yet.
"Don't Be Late."
Yeah, I heard it. I heard about
It's
it
awful. It's trash. It's just that like Afrobeat that we've already heard. Like
800
Drake had
times.
a whole fucking album Afrobeats,
Right.
and then Sway Lee had some songs he already dropped. No, some people didn't like it. So my favorite podcaster, Joe Budden,
Hmm.
because I fuck with Joe Budden, he went on his podcast, and they always talk about new music dropping, which is cool.
Right.
And they talked about that song, and Joe Budden said he fucking hated that song. It was ass, it was trash, whatever. But they're always praising Sway Lee,
Hmm.
and I fuck with Sway Lee. He's super fucking talented.
Yeah.
I didn't like the song, neither did Joe Budden and a lot of people. And so he was like, he continues to say like, look, we love Joe Budden. We love Sway Lee here on this podcast. We fuck with his, but we don't like the song. And then
And that's okay.
yeah, it's okay. But Sway Lee went on like Instagram Live, I think it was, addressing that, like, oh, I know it's your platform to kind of review music and talk about it. It's your job, and I'm like, okay, well, you should have just stopped right there.
Right.
He went to say like, this song isn't. Well, I didn't make the song for you. You weren't on the song. You weren't the verse. You haven't made a song in a decade. You haven't had a hit in a decade. And we're like, all right. Well, first of all, yeah, but he doesn't need to do
But
that.
he's doing
First of
other
all,
things, and he doesn't
and
have
like,
to prove that.
right. And the thing is, it's like, I'm tired of artists thinking that because we're fans of their music, we have to like every fucking thing that they put out.
Yeah, we have to just accept it all.
That's not the case. I am the biggest Eminem fan. People who really know me, they know I'm the biggest fucking Eminem fan. I don't like everything he's put out. There's only maybe one or two songs I like on not Revival, but what was the other one before? Oh yeah, Revival.
Yeah.
I didn't care for that one too much. Kamikaze, that was my shit. But I just an example, like just because I'm a diehard fan of whoever, doesn't mean I have to like everything they put out. And a lot of these people, because of their insecurities, they take offense and they start, dissing and talking shit to those people, like because they didn't like their work. It's like, I don't know if you remember the Joe Budden and Drake beef.
Yes.
It all happened because Joe Budden didn't like Views, and I also I didn't like Views either.
And Views was one of my favorite things by Drake.
I like. It's a couple songs. The
play
only
that
song
album
I
out.
really like on Views is Redemption. That's my shit because it speaks to me.
I played that album out.
My favorite, and then my favorite Drake album, I think, is gonna be Take Care.
That was.
But
fun.
we're gonna have a look. I think we're gonna have to have a podcast where we talk about our favorites, top whatever.
Yeah, we gotta have our.
Which is
top
gonna be like a whole
fives
music podcast because that's my shit. But anyways, a whole beef started with that, and it's kind of funny to me because Drake started dissing Joe Budden on a couple songs like Subtle Shots because even though Joe Budden said I love Drake, I'm a fan of the music, I just didn't like this album, and they started dissing. But
I love Joe Budden. I grew up listening to Joe Budden. Joe Budden is a bully.
but it worked for him. That's the thing.
And I think but he is also one of those people that I think attaches this negative stigma to black men as the stigma of bullying. Like you said, you can disagree with something and say, you know what, I just don't fuck with it.
But that's what it was for him. That's all he was for him. But I think what happens is with social media and everybody really is that they take criticism and blow it out of proportion a lot of times. And so that's, and if we want to really be honest, I don't know if you heard the diss tracks that Joe Budden put out to Drake.
No, I didn't hear anything.
He fucking smoked them.
Oh, I didn't hear it.
Fam.
I gotta.
This one, just listen to one called "Making a Murderer."
Okay.
He has some lines on there, like he says, "No wonder you got all the Starbucks with all that Joe in you." But anyways, back to the topic. He's just like, just as fans, I don't, artists need to stop feeling like us as fans are obligated to like every fucking thing that you put out just because we're fans of you.
Right, exactly.
Because, like I said, we don't expect me as a fan. I don't expect everything to be fucking perfect.
Right. I mean, like,
and I used to think that.
And we have, and this is the thing. I mean, when you do, even like with us doing podcasts, sometimes people don't like the topics we're talking about. Sometimes they don't like that episode.
Yeah, fuck y'all.
But my feelings aren't hurt because I really, I put my all into there, and sometimes it's going to be hit or miss. Sometimes,
right. And exactly. And the other thing is like, there's times where people put out, even us, we're talking about topics that are not gonna be for everybody. Like
right.
This thing that we talk, like when we talk about Drake and Sway Lee, and the older crowd, they're not gonna know what the fuck that is.
Right.
So it's like, but you can't take that as, we can't take that as criticism and be like, oh, fuck you, you're a hater, because no, this part wasn't for them, so that's all it is. You know what I mean? So it's like, but like at the end of the day, we put out great fucking podcasts, so there's no way you don't like it, because but then I just brings just kind of ended with criticism. Just kind of goes a long way, and there's different sides of it. Yeah, exactly.
Be open to taking constructive criticism.
Nobody's perfect.
I've learned that over the years is learn to listen. And listen with the intent of actually listening.
Yeah.
So with that being said, listen to this episode. Tell us what you think. We're going to be back active on our Facebook, active on our Instagram. We've been slacking a bit.
Yeah. So we're going to try to do this episode shed weekly by weekly the most. I don't want to go more than 2 weeks without it because I feel like once we get back into our bag of kind of constantly doing it, we'll just keep going.
We'll be good.
So, like I said, we're back.
Subscribe.
Like, we're going to
follow.
I might have to get back. That means I have to get back on social media then, because I have to promote this shit. So I guess look for me on social media or not. But we hope you guys enjoyed this episode. This has been the All Talk with Jim and Chris podcast. You guys enjoy your week because it's Sunday.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm about to enjoy my week. I don't have to fucking work till Friday. Fuck all y'all. Hey, y'all.
All right, guys, take care.
Y'all take care. Love y'all.